y'all, it's Casey with Russo Resells. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Casey. I am a full-time online reseller and I sell on platforms such as eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, and Curtsy. Today is Wednesday, July 29th, and I have a few sales to ship out from the last few days. So on Monday, July 27th, I had 2 sales. And then yesterday, Tuesday, July 28th, I had 6 sales. And it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I've already had 1 sale today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into them. So the first sale that I had on Monday is by Vince. And I primarily picked this up because it is the highest line of Vince, but also for the style and for the materials content. So this is kind of like a yellow ivory-ish knit crew neck long sleeve. And I absolutely love this. I just thought it was in such great condition, and it was at my Salvation Army for half off, so I paid about $4 for it. So I thought I could at least, double or triple my money if it did go for lower than I had anticipated, which is completely fine. So I did price it pretty high at $50, and my Nifty on Poshmark sent out 20% off offers to likers of 40, and one of those likers did counter at 25, and because we are still in summer and because I love a fast flip, this had only been listed for about 2 weeks, I did decide to go ahead and accept that. My fees to Poshmark were $5, and I turned $4 into $20, which we absolutely love. Now, the next and last item to sell on Monday is by TNA, which is Aritzia's athletic line. And this is a really cool red and white striped track jacket. And it is a jersey knit. It is very stretchy. It did have some discoloring on the back, but you can hardly see it unless you really shine a light to it. So I did go ahead and disclose that. I did get that in a Whatnot show from Miss Destiny over on Retro by Destiny. And for all of my Whatnot purchases, I have a cost of goods of about $10. So I did price this very reasonably on eBay for $49.99 plus $10 ship. I probably could have listed it a little higher, but because of that discoloring on the back, I did decide to drop the price just a little bit. And a lovely buyer came in my eBay store and they used my 17% off coupon. They paid $41.49 plus $10 ship. It cost me $10.80 to ship. I did have it promoted, so those fees were $1.54. My fees to eBay were $6.94, and I turned $10 into $32.21. And that is an item that I sourced straight online, and it came right to my doorstep, so I am very happy with that profit. Now we're going into yesterday's sales, and just like that Vince sweater, I got this next item at a half off Salvation Army sale for about $4. It is by Calvin Klein, and Calvin Klein career dresses do very well for me, so I knew for $4 this would be a great piece to add to my stores. It is this kind of like satiny, mossy green watercolor printed midi dress. Absolutely love this, and the gold detail in the back is just stunning. I think this is such a classic piece. It could be worn into the office, to a party. It is a very transitional piece, so very happy that I was able to get it for $4. I did price it very reasonably on eBay for $34.99 plus $10 ship, and my Nifty sent out 18% off offers to watchers of $28.69 plus $10 ship, and one of those watchers did accept. It cost me $9.42 to ship, and my fees to eBay were $5.57, and I gladly turned $4 into $23.70. Definitely keep your eye out for Calvin Klein career dresses because they do very well. Now, the next pair of items I actually purchased for myself, and I believe I paid about $20 or $25 for them, and I didn't mind paying up for them because they were for myself, but they're by Ralph Lauren, and they are these beautiful leather heels. I absolutely loved these. They look almost unworn, but I just didn't like them on me, and I had really nowhere to wear them to. So I did decide to go ahead and list them up on Poshmark for $50, and I received an offer of $42, and because my Nifty would have sent out a $40 offer, I did decide to go ahead and accept that. My fees to Poshmark were $8.40, and I made my money back, and I made a little profit of $33.60. This next item is really cool, and it comes from my tennis teammate who does consignment with me. It is by Aloe, and I absolutely love this because it is a black hooded jacket, but it's almost like thermal lined. And I just thought that was so cool. I didn't see really anything like this listed online, so I did shoot for the stars, and I probably overpriced, but you know, to each his own. I priced it on Poshmark for $120, and my Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of 96, and one of those likers did counter at 75. Because I was just making a blind decision to price it so high, and I didn't see any others on the market like this, I did decide to go ahead and accept that offer. Our fees to Poshmark were $15. My tennis teammate left with $36, and I made a profit of $24. Definitely love adding consignment items to my stores. Now, this next item is coming from the same tennis teammate, and I don't have the item with me, so I am going to pop it up right here. It is this really cute girls no comment tiered dress, and this is just so adorable. And even though this didn't retail for a lot, I still wanted to price it pretty reasonably because it was new with tags. And I priced it on Poshmark for $25, and someone came in and purchased it outright, which we absolutely love. Our fees to Poshmark were $5. My tennis teammate left with $12, and I made a profit of $8. And on a little girl's piece, I will totally take that any day. Now, the next item to sell is by London Times Petite. And this is something I wouldn't normally pick up when I'm out and about, but I want to say I got a box from America's Thrift Supply about 2 or 3 years ago. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, my husband called me. Now that that's done, I'll go ahead and show you this piece. So I did get it, like I said earlier, from America's Thrift Supply. I have about $5 into this piece. It is new with tags, and it is this beautiful blue and white striped midi dress, or I guess it's petite, so it could be a maxi. And it is just so beautiful. And I had this in my death pile for about 2 years. So definitely look in your death pile, or as a lot of people like to call it now, your money pile, and see what you can get up and listed, because usually you're going to have some gems in it, and it's going to be worth putting something up, and it probably will sell within a week or two. And that's exactly what happened with that dress. So I did price it on eBay for $37.99 plus $10 ship, and my Nifty sent out 18% off offers to watchers of $31.15 plus $10 ship, and one of those watchers did accept. It cost me $6.44 to ship. My fees to eBay were $6.01, and I turned $5 into $28.70. The last items to sell yesterday sold in a bundle. They are these pair of ICD-10CM coder training manuals. So I actually was given these by a coworker at a hospital that I used to work at. For those of you new here, I actually don't think I've ever talked about this, but before I did reselling, I actually worked at a hospital, and I was going to be getting into medical coding, but decided not to. And those were left in a room at a hospital that no one had occupied, and at the time my director of medical records gave them to me so I could hopefully use them. Obviously didn't end up going into that field, so I already had them. I decided to go ahead and list them, and I priced them on Mercari for $39.99 plus free ship. I was offered $30 plus free ship. I have had those listed for over a year now, so I was ecstatic when I received that offer, especially because Mercari's fees are so low and these can be shipped through media mail. So my fees to Mercari were $3. I did get the media mail postage through Pirate Ship for $5.86, and I turned free items into $21.14. And I am hopeful that somebody else can use those. Now, the first and hopefully not last item to sell today, just the last item that I will show you that sold today, is this really cool Michael Kors sequin mini bag. This is absolutely so cute, and this is from my aunt. She is doing some consignment with me, and I did price this very reasonably on Poshmark for $50, and someone came in and purchased it outright, which we absolutely love. Our fees to Poshmark were $10. My aunt is leaving with $24, and I made a profit of $16. And that was only listed for, I want to say, about 3 or 4 weeks, which is fantastic. Very Y2K. So those are all of the sales that I have to show you right now. I hope to hop back on within the next couple days to show you more. Hey y'all, it is now Friday, July 31st. It is the last day of July, very exciting, but usually towards the end of the month is when I have a slight slump in sales, and that's what we are about to see right now. So we last left off a couple days ago on Wednesday, July 29th, and after we left off that day, I had 2 more sales. And then yesterday, Thursday, July 30th, I only had 1 sale, and it's about 1:30 right now in the afternoon, and I've only had 1 sale. So let's go ahead and hop into them. So the first sale we had on Wednesday is by Old Navy, and these are a double XL. They are a pull-on wide leg linen blend, olive green pant. These are actually coming out of my own personal closet. They are too big for me now. I do need an extra large, which is awesome. And I knew because of the style and the material, I could definitely list these. So I priced them on Poshmark for $25, and my Nifty sent out 20% off offers to likers of 20, and one of those likers did accept. My fees to Poshmark were $4, and I left with $16, and I actually got those at a half off Salvation Army sale for only $4, so I still made a profit, and I was able to wear them, which I think is simply fantastic. Now, this next item I got, I want to say a year or 2 ago for $2.99 at a Salvation Army sale, and I got it particularly because it is 100% linen. It is by a brand called Wear It, and I'm not sure what type of brand that is, but because it was 100% linen and in fantastic condition, I did decide to go ahead and pick it up. It is collared, it is button down, long sleeve, and really great. It's like a crisp linen shirt. And honestly, this was a bad pickup, or I just didn't market it correctly because it sat for almost 2 years. And this is an item that I decided to drastically lower the price on eBay. So I priced it for $14.99 plus $7 ship. I did have a couple watchers on it. So I manually sent a 12% off offer because the price was already so low of $11.90 plus $7 ship, and one of those watchers did accept that. It cost me $8.13 to ship. My fees to eBay were $2.89, and I still made a profit, so I turned $3 into $7.88. Not the biggest profit, but I am happy to get this moved along to a new home and to get that money back into my reselling account to purchase better inventory. Now, the next item that sold, I actually don't have with me. So this item actually sold yesterday, and because it was such a high ticket item, I did want to get it packaged up and shipped out yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you all right there. You'll see all the bags and the boxes on my bed. My office is not super clean, but not super dirty. Definitely have to do some cleaning after this video, but enough being said about that. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture up of the awesome item that sold right here. So it is this pair of patent leather, heavily studded platform slip-on shoes from Jeffrey Campbell. These are so cool, and they seem to be new without tags, which was even better. And what was even more shocking is I found them at my favorite Salvation Army. I did pay full price of $24.99, but I was happy to do so because I actually had these priced at like $220, but I have my Nifty set up to decrease the price steadily after 30 days of being listed. So these were dropped down to $190, and a buyer came in, they liked them, and then a couple minutes later they bought them for full asking price of $190, which I am so thrilled with. My fees to Poshmark were $38, and I turned $25 into $152. And I believe I actually looked back on that video to see how much I paid overall for that haul, and I believe it was $260. So a majority of that haul was taken care of by just this item, which I think is awesome. So definitely be on the lookout for very eccentric shoes like that because they might cost a pretty penny. Now, speaking of shoes, the only item that sold today also, or thus far at least, is also another pair of shoes. These are coming from my tennis teammate who does consignment with me. They are a collaboration from K-Swiss and Lucky and Love. And I was actually tempted to keep these, but I decided to put them up instead because that is the most mature thing to do, or adult thing to do. They are these really cool neon yellow tennis shoes with this really cool like holographic style or color to them, and they are new in box. It looks like she just purchased them and didn't like them, so she decided to send them to me to get them up and listed. And I didn't see any comps on these, so I did price them quite high at $114.99 plus $10 ship. And my Nifty sent out 18% off offers to watchers on eBay of $93.47 plus $10 ship, and one of those watchers did accept. It cost me $6.07 to ship. I did have them promoted, so those fees were $3.36. My fees to eBay were $14.63. My consignee left with $47.65, and I made a profit of $31.76. And I want to say these were only listed for about 3 weeks. And after they were listed for about a week, I did receive like a $60 or $70 offer. And I'm very happy that I did not take that because, as you can tell, we sold them for more. So definitely happy that I waited it out for a couple more weeks because I think that's a great price. But those are all of the sales that I have to show you. I actually have to package these up and ship them out because I have a lot going on this weekend. As always, I appreciate you guys being here, and I hope you're having great thrifting and great sales. Until next time, my friends. Bye.